Vanakkam, Namaste, and blessings to everyone. This is Dr. Bhairavi Balasubramanian, PhD, the Sky Priestess. Now, I know all of you are looking forward towards the official end of Jupiter in Scorpio, and you're ready to welcome Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is great, but just remember we've still got that Scorpio vibe going on. It's not over yet. You want to spend the next day or so just working on your energetic practices, keeping your space clean, keeping your energy clean, and allowing yourself to detoxify and declutter what you do not need. With Jupiter in Sagittarius, we're going to be seeing an expansive feeling, a rising sense of energy that's going to ask us to step out of our proverbial boxes and far, far away. A lot of you are going to be inspired to teach, to travel, to be more than what you thought possible, which is fantastic. Now, this, of course, works both ways. Some will be searching for that essential truth with a capital T, and others will be seeking to kind of browbeat their own truths into the world. It's going to be a very polarizing dynamic in some ways, but also uplifting in others. So challenge is ready to go. The gauntlet's been thrown, and we now see where we all stand in our respective sides or angles or visions of truth. So that's going to be coming up. Now, I know a lot of you are also focused on what else is going on. We are seeing like the true node having shifted out of Leo at 29 degrees Cancer. We see that Chiron is basically at, I think, 28 degrees Pisces. We see that Uranus is at 29 degrees Aries. We see that Jupiter is at 29 degrees Scorpio. And there's this intense focus on that anorectic degree of 29 degrees, whatever. Now, yes, this is very important. But please also bear in mind that these kinds of alignments are ones that actually make way and make room for changes. It kind of pushes us towards the tail end of things where you think that everything is just coming to an end just before a big, wide new beginning opens up. So if you're feeling overwhelmed at these times, just know that it's kind of like the way the tunnel sort of narrows at the end, just before you emerge into light and being and wholeness and fullness once more. But I've also got to say that this shifting of the nodes business with the North Node in Leo moving into Cancer is just one definition of the nodes. This is what we call the true node. The other is called the mean or average node. Personally, I work with the mean node because I find it to be more accurate in the ways that I perform forecasts and predictions. But it's not to say one or the other is right or wrong. It's to say that there is a range. The mean nodes will be shifting in mid-November. So you can consider this next upcoming week as the official transiting or shifting of the nodes into a new sign. Now, just as a recap, the North Node tells us what it is that we need to be working on, and the South Node tells us what it is that we need to let go of. And all this while, roughly 1.5 year period, we've been having the North Node in Leo pushing us towards matters that ask us to expand our hearts, dig deep into our creativity, fall in love, invest in children. All of that stuff has been projected into the collective in the previous cycle. With the South Node in Aquarius, we've been asked to actually, whilst moving towards soul groups and soul tribes, we've kind of been asked to move away from soul groups and soul tribes that actually carry old codes of consciousness and forms of groupthink that no longer align. So we've actually been, in some sense, moving away from old collective ideals and moving to new collective ideals, but through the vessel that is our creative spirit and being. But what's going to be happening now for this next, again, roughly 1.5 year period is the North Nodes, especially in this upcoming week, are shifting. You know, if you consider the true node and the mean node calculation, they are shifting into Cancer Capricorn. So over the next 1.5 years, the North Node is basically asking us to align in the direction of Cancer. Cancer, astrologically speaking, deals with home, family, tradition, the connections that we have with our maternal family line. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters, our daughters, our aunts, anyone in that lineage, though of course that can come from both sides of the family because you're going to have grandmothers and aunts on either side. Either way, it is that primordial connection with the feminine that is going to be the focus of our collective growth. So really, we need to be investing in physical, emotional, and psychological spaces that allow us to feel emotionally nurtured, because truly emotions are going to be the key growth word for this upcoming period. Now, with the South Node in Capricorn, it's going to get real exciting for people who want power, recognition, achievement, success, and privilege. This is not to say that everyone who has those things is necessarily a bad person. It just means that there are going to be a lot of karmic tests for those who want to deal with the question of power. While the South Node gives us a lot of gifts, sometimes these gifts are not exactly the blessings that they appear to be upfront. It means that we actually need the discipline to pursue roles that require greater power, greater authority, greater responsibility, only if they are truly karmically aligned with our soul's evolutionary path. And the way we navigate that path is to focus on the North Node. So in other words, in a nutshell, we're going to be having a lot more opportunities to have far more influence, far more power, to exert a far greater sense of authority than we've had in a while. And we really need to consider why we want to do so. And to do so, we look at the North Node. What is it that actually allows us to bring ourselves back home, back to that space where we feel supported, whether it be through tradition or community or family or simply an emotional network that gives us a sense of belonging? These need to be the political values that govern our time. And that is, of course, already being reflected to some extent in recent electoral results. We see far more representation happening, which is a good thing, but those representatives need to keep those values at hand. But anyway, enough of that for now. What we are also going to be seeing, of course, is Venus retrograde finally coming to an end, again in mid-November. We're going to be seeing a sequence of things happening at that time. We're going to be seeing Mars moving into Pisces, finally leaving Aquarius, thank God. We're going to be seeing the energies of the nodes completely shifting into Cancer, Capricorn. And we're also going to be seeing the end of Venus retrograde. And I can hear you guys saying Yahoo in the background because this has been a very intense Venus retrograde. But shortly after that, we're going to be seeing Mercury retrograde starting. So really, things aren't quite done yet. But all I want to say in a nutshell is change is happening. Don't get too ahead of yourselves. Give yourselves this extra 1 week to really cement the changes that are happening. Give Jupiter the time it needs to get out of Scorpio before you kind of decide to leap off and take away and do what you need to do, because you don't want any last minute surprises. So again, come back to yourself, come back to your center, work on your spiritual practices, honor whichever deities, ancestors, whatever you work with in appropriate ways. That works both sides. You don't need to give too little, you don't need to give too much. And just allow the universe to let this next chapter unfold. There is no rush. You can wait a week. But yeah, I would say that would be a brief forecast and note of what's happening right now. And I will come back to you when more things happen, as they inevitably will. Such is the nature of the universe. But what I can tell you is, as soon as this nodal shift really goes underway, and we're already feeling the rumblings of that, the North Node in Cancer, the South Node in Capricorn, and Uranus in Aries are going to be doing some very, very, very interesting things together over the next couple of months. So change is still happening. The process and the speed of change is not slowing down. We are just being given the opportunity to settle a little bit into whatever structures we want to use to anchor this vibration with. But again, just give Jupiter its time to finish what it's doing before you decide what's next for you. So, as always, take care, ciao ciao for now, and God is bless. Bye-bye.